So, jump straight in. So we're back after a little break to give everyone an opportunity to recharge their batteries. Evan's recently come out of rehab, so he's back on his A game after his addiction to Rohypnol and steak bakes. So, we're back to full quota, and we're starting with Taxi Driver.
What a cocktail that is. Rohypnol and steak bakes.
We do that as our next. Imagine the burps and the farts after those.
Oh god.
Should we do that as our next taste tester? Steak bakes laced with Rohypnol and see what happens.
See who can pass out the first.
Yeah.
First to get passed out gets fingered up my bum. Whoop.
Yeah.
No.
Right, Taxi Driver.
I'm
going to jump straight in. Do you know what? Never seen it before.
First time watching it?
First time watching it. And this is typical of me that I've seen, I do love my sort of films from the 70s, 80s, 90s, but ultimately anything that's a little bit edgy, I probably never watched. I was always that sort of like typical mind-numbing action film that either starred Arnie or Sylvester Stallone or Jean-Claude Van Damme. So, never seen it before. So this will be interesting, this conversation, from my point of view.
Have you seen this before, Ev?
No.
Wow. So we got a 50-50. Well, you'd seen it before, right, Prog?
Yeah.
We got a 50-50 here in here tonight. So
I'd only ever watched it once before, though.
Okay.
And that was about 20 years ago.
Isn't it funny? Like, it's quite an iconic film, isn't it? And for Prog only to have seen it once before, and obviously me and Ev never to watch it. It's I find that quite strange. Everyone talks about Taxi Driver. It's always on a list somewhere, isn't it? Of the films to watch.
Yeah.
So,
which is why I watched it.
Yeah. Has your opinion of it changed at all? I will come into it. I know, Prog, in a bit, but you watched it once 20 years ago. Got a different opinion since?
No.
Still the same.
Yeah, my opinion is still the same pretty much. I got more of an appreciation for it watching it the second time. But the feelings I had after the film the first time are pretty much the same now.
Come on in, Ad. Have you seen it a few times?
Oh, God, yeah. I've seen this one hundreds of times.
This is one of Adam's all-timers, this is.
It is, yeah. It is one of my favourite films ever.
So get the daggers ready, boys.
It's getting an 8 out of 10 already.
Slated enough of hours.
So let me get this right now. You saw it when you were first 4 around your nan's house.
I was younger than Jodie Foster when I remember clearly when I watched this for the first time. It's a really so obviously I was in a rut of only watching like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and all the horror movies, and my friend Ridley, his older brother, had it on videotape, and Ridley watched it and said to me and my friend Steve, "You should both watch this film. It's pretty good." And I watched, and then the deal was, he was like, "Do you lend it first, and then lend it to Steve when you're done with it." So I remember watching it on a summer's day, like when I was about 14. I just sat in my bedroom and watched it, and I thought it was really good. And then I took it to my friend Steve's house and was like, Rid wasn't lying. This is a really good film. And then I sat down with Steve and watched it all over again, like half an hour later. So I watched it twice in one day. And it's just like it's like just one of those movies that kind of changed my view on film and made me realize that no, films aren't just Freddy Krueger running around and killing people. They can be deeper and have more meaning to them. And it's a big one.
So you didn't feel Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street was a character study then, did you?
No, I didn't get the I didn't get that sort of depth from Friday the 13th Part 4 and stuff as I did with Taxi Driver. But yeah, just kind of like obviously when watching this film, I remember realizing I used to call him Martin Scorsese because I didn't know how to say his name. But I remember being like, "Who's this Martin Scorsese guy?" And then seeking out all his other films to watch. I was only 14. I just didn't know. I'd never heard of him before. So I was like, I want to watch more films by this Scorsese fella. And then I've watched Raging Bull and Goodfellas and all his other stuff afterwards. And yeah, it's a big movie for me.
If we move on to favourite aspect, has anyone got anything? You know, Adam, obviously you've mentioned sort of the director there, but what have people got?
I've got mine is the feel of the film, the vibe, like the growing sort of I wouldn't say tension, but there's almost like this growing repulsion by Travis Bickle's character to his, not only his situation, but like where he's living, New York at that time. And watching it this time, I think anyway, it was more clear to me that he was more looking for, he just wanted to kill. I think he just wanted to do something. Whereas when I watched it first time, I was confused as to whether he wanted to kill the politician to be known, or whether he just wanted to act on something and just to have someone be the target. And I think this time it was more a case of he just wanted to do something, not necessarily who it was. I don't know if Adam's ever thought about it that way, but
Oh well, that's in the film's narration. He says, doesn't he, at the beginning, "My life there's no meaning to my life. I have nothing to head towards," and that's sort of like he just kind of, and he's obviously got some sort of PTSD from the Vietnam War. And
yeah, sorry, but what I meant is that in terms of the politician, when I first watched it, I thought he wanted to kill the politician, but because he couldn't, that's why he then went and killed Jodie Foster's pimp. But watching it this time, I got the impression that it was just a case that he just wanted to do something. It didn't matter who it was.
There's a voice. I mean, there's the old Betsy aspect to it as well. Like, is he doing it to try and like make some big stand and some grandstand in front of Betsy? There's loads of angles for that politician thing.
But isn't it funny, right? If he killed the politician, he would have been a villain.
Yeah.
Kills the pimp, he's a hero. And okay, the ending, you can read into it any way you want to, really. Is it a dream? Did he survive? Is it all a dream? You know, is he in the afterlife sort of thing?
Can we come back to that dream nonsense? I hate those interpretations of the ending of films. I can't handle them, where critics are like, "Oh, is it his dying thoughts? The aftermath?" And I'm just like, look, if he was dying, why'd they film all that stuff? They wouldn't show it. If he actually died, the point of the writer would have been to end his life there. They wouldn't show some dream sequence.
Well, we will come on to it because I've got some quotes on that. But but going back to the politician side of things, if he'd killed the politician, he would have been I was going to say an assassin. I don't know if he is an assassin, if that's the case. But he would have assassinated him, I suppose. I don't know if you can assassinate a politician, but you can assassinate someone who's like head of state or in charge of a country, kind of. I don't know.
He was running for president. I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. But in my mind, that there was no need to kill the politician, in the sense of the politician he didn't seem corrupt, and he didn't really do anything for Travis to want to kill him for that reason. So I sort of go along with what Prog was saying. And is it a case of he's trying to do it to get the attention of Betsy?
Yeah. I didn't say that. Adam said that.
Adam said it, sorry.
Yeah.
That's the thing with the guy. You can never really... He's just all over the place. Well, that's what Betsy says to him. She says, "You're a walking contradiction," like the Chris Christopherson song. Because the amount of times Travis Bickle kind of like doesn't make sense. His mission doesn't quite make sense. I mean, like killing a bunch of guys in front of Iris and pretty much traumatizing her forever. It's like the weirdest way to save someone ever. You know what I mean? There's loads of weird ways to read that ending as well. But it's Travis, isn't it?
So someone must have De Niro there though as a favorite aspect.
Oh yeah. Well, sorry, just to jump in now. I think one of the big aspects of this film, which I love though when I watch it now, is that you never make this film the way it is today. There's no way you could make a film like this in today's sort of like climate. And I mean that's wherein like your protagonist of your movie is racist has the worst views imagined, like some just really ugly views of the world, and they kind of but they make him like an anti-hero at the same time, and like I like that about the film because you just don't see that kind of stuff made anymore, and I just find it really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the point is, this film is a study of a complex character, isn't it?
Yeah, but
going off the back of what you're saying, people would be too afraid to make that now. They want people to be black and white. They want to be good or they want to be bad. And unfortunately, that's why a lot of films that are released now, the main characters are boring as.
Exactly, yeah. But like, and also another good thing about this film today, another reason why it's so interesting to watch in today's world is that like, in a world where obviously mass shootings and these like lone nutters going, taking a gun and shooting up schools and places in America, it just feels like he's making a comment about today as well, even though it was made like nearly 50 years ago. It's a really interesting film to watch today, I reckon. But yeah, it's just really because obviously there's comparisons to make towards Joker, which we'll probably come on to a bit later on. But I just think that this film has more power to it because of that. And obviously, I'm not saying I agree with anything Travis Bickle thinks. He is an ugly character with a horrible viewpoint, but I still think that films about these sort of people should be made, so you could kind of explore that sort of personality.
Well, unfortunately, these kind of people do exist. So
exactly.
Well, funnily enough, it's not funnily enough, but at the same time this was filmed and released, wasn't it? The Summer of Sam, or Son of Sam, sorry, killer, the serial killer that was in New York.
Maybe, yeah.
It may have been around the same time. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I'll check my notes in a bit, but I'm pretty sure it was roughly the same time. And I'm not saying there was controversy about it, but I think that there was some at least thought about how do we release this when someone is killing people. And didn't they film it as well, like the hottest summer New York had bloody seen? And I think that just added as well to the film at times just feels grimy. I felt at times just a bit dirty and horrible and sweaty watching it. But that's a great aspect to it, I think.
I mean, that's why I love early Scorsese films, is because he's from New York, and he filmed his films without that Hollywood sheen on New York. He was from downtown rough as fuck New York, and he was like, this is what my movies are about. So when you go back and watch Mean Streets, I'm not saying he doesn't do that in his later films, but I think it's more so in Mean Streets, the films like Raging Bull. You really get to see that side of New York, and it is really like it's great to watch now because it's like an artifact. It's like you get to see what New York was like back then and stuff, and it's better than any production design you can get than just having the real thing. You know what I mean?
Ev, what have you got, buddy?
Oh, I've got a couple. The Scorsese, but for his acting ability. That scene with
he's the guy in the taxi.
That scene with him in the car, I think it's totally relatable. I think if taking out the racism.
Wait a minute, no. Where are you going with this?
Taking out
his wife is getting fucked by a black guy.
What are you and your missus going through right now, F?
No. But I'm saying that you can imagine, like, your average Joe on the street taking out the racism part of it anyway. That wanting to kill,
exact revenge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think it's just in a weird way, it's relatable sinisterism, if that's a word. Also the cast, I think the cast is like names on paper is really good. Obviously you got De Niro, who I'll come on to in a minute, Jodie Foster, Albert Brooks, Nemo's dad, Harvey Keitel.
Who's the guy who's something about Raymond's dad?
Peter Boyle.
Peter Boyle, yeah.
He looks exactly the same. He's just got darker hair. The hairstyle is exactly the same.
Can I just say that I have really missed Evan's roll call of the cast?
Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. It's coming up. The climax is coming up, and Rocky Balboa's boss in the taxi rank.
Yes, Joe Spinell.
Oh, yeah. He's like the
Yeah.
mobster guy, isn't he? In Rocky.
But
He's like, you moonlighting?
Yeah, and I just think like the character of Travis Bickle, I just think he's just a misunderstood loner who's got trouble socializing and just hates people. Like you can see like from some of the lines in his like monologues where he's saying like all the animals come out at night and stuff like that. It's almost as if he's living two lives, so to speak. But when he turns it on, he's a charming bastard. Like when he's
he got Betsy all hot and bothered, didn't he? When he went.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's he was very intense yet warming.
But then he takes it to see that porn film.
Well, there's me. Yeah, I'm just thinking like for the choice of film. I mean, it's probably all he knows because he only sees that side of society. But like not just that choice of film, but then
Can I just ask? Sorry, can I just ask where on what date would you take a girl to see a porn film? Because he goes on the second date he takes her.
The first film me and Liz ever watched together was Lord of the G-Strings. It was great. Followed by Schindler's Fist.
I've got another question in that. No, he first goes to the cinema, doesn't he, on his own?
Yeah.
And he's trying to chat up the woman who is like selling the ticket. The thing I find more weird about that entire scene, he has popcorn while watching a porno.
Yeah.
It's just like, I knew like porn cinema theaters existed. These are sort of long before our time. But like, yeah, did people really have popcorn while
but
watching a porno?
They tried to market them as actual like movie experiences, didn't they? In the 70s, they tried to trick the normal movie-going public into thinking that it's okay to go and watch a porn film.
Well, no, there was a weird loophole with they were always medical documentaries in the late 70s because pornography was illegal to show in America, so they had to market them. If it's a really good HBO series, which I've only ever seen the first season of, called The Deuce, which I recommend you watch, and it's all about New York and the New York and porn becoming it's this guy that kind of started the porn boom in New York in the 70s. It's by the guy who made The Wire. It's on Sky Atlantic. Check it out. It's a good show.
But that is going on what you said about when he goes on his own. But what is he thinking trying to pick up a receptionist or like, in a porno theater who's probably just heard everything all that before and is just like, weirdo.
And that's it though, isn't he? He knows no different. He has no like social etiquette or social boundaries.
Yeah.
Also, I think that scene as well helps to show that he's a complicated character because, as Adams alluded to, there is a sort of hint of racism within Travis Bickle, but he's hitting on a black woman at the start. Yeah. So
also,
when you think, I was just going to say, when you think back on the film, you're looking at it and you're thinking, well, is he actually racist or isn't he? It leads to the question, doesn't it? It makes you question his character even more.
Yeah. I think it's meant to show like how out of touch he is as well, because he just thinks that like, I'll take my date to this movie, and they're watching like some weird, creepy. It's a really sleazy looking porno as well. It's like it is a sleazy looking porno when you watch it as well, isn't it? It's like.
Do you know what I would have been in? Do you know what I would have been interested in that? And I've only just thought of this, so I could be completely wrong. But Travis hit on the woman at the concession stand, right? Then he's taking Betsy to that cinema. There's every chance that Travis, the person that he is taking Betsy so he can show Betsy off to the woman he tried to chat up and she rejected him.
But it's a different cinema he goes to, though.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. So I thought it was the same cinema.
No, because I was going to say the cinema he goes to first, that's probably the smallest cinema I've ever seen because there's only like 9 seats in there and they're all cramped on one side. Whereas the next one he goes to, it's a massive theater, isn't it?
Okay.
Right, here's a question for you. And I got two things I'm going to ask you, right? One I'm going to tell you, one I'm going to ask
I
you.
wonder if you're going to ask the question I'm going to ask. Go on.
What happens if you bought the ticket to go to that small cinema and you walk in and there's only one seat left? And because they're all spaced out, aren't they, when he walks in? And then you've got to sit next to someone while they're jacking off.
Yeah.
And you've got your popcorn and everything.
Yeah. And his cum is potentially going to go in your popcorn. Off, mate. No way.
Extra
Is that
salty.
the only place you're worried about it getting?
Yeah.
Thing is,
You
but
can go anywhere else.
I've already got my toppings for the popcorn, but I don't need yours.
if you're the
Not
kind
extra,
of
no butter for me. Ooh.
now, look, I know that one of our many listeners might like going to because they do. I think they still exist. They might like going to dirty movie theaters and having a.
Do they still exist? And this was going to be my interesting point. There's a famous venue in Cardiff that you would have all been to that at some point was a theatre and at another point was a pornographic cinema.
Are you on about the Prince of Wales being a gay porn cinema?
There was the Prince of Wales.
It was a gay porn cinema.
The bar?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was a theatre.
Yeah, it was. And then that closed down and became like a dodgy cinema for a while.
It was, they played the homoerotic variety.
I wonder if they changed the carpet since then.
No.
Sticky carpet.
That's my whole thing with those cinemas, right? Back in the 70s. Can you imagine the stink on them?
People smoking in them, probably drinking, or it's like being in a bar, but with the potential of it being cum stained as well.
I think
they're probably guys who took prostitutes into those places as well.
And I know that heroin use was a big thing in those places as well. Smackheads and crackheads who go in there to take drugs while watching a big porno.
Can anyone remember the line?
Oh, hang on a minute. Isn't one of those cinemas where Tom Hanks got AIDS in Philadelphia?
Yeah, all he did was walk through the doorway and he had AIDS. Literally all that happened.
This gust of AIDS just fell over him.
He just walked there, was like, I feel different. And that's the title card for Philadelphia comes on the screen.
I was going to ask, can anyone remember the really bad line from the porno in American Werewolf in London?
Oh.
I can't remember. That's what I'm asking. It was something like, get off my wife. And he was like, and yeah.
Oh, hello. Oh, sorry, love. I didn't. Yeah, that's it. It wasn't his wife.
Yeah.
Get out of my room. Oh, sorry. One of the things that it's sort of like it made us a little bit sick, but you're just like ugh. when he's explaining about how he's cleaning all the stuff off the back of the car. When he's like saying, cleaning all the vomit and the blood and the cum and stuff like that, I'm just thinking, number one, who would actually take the cab when clearly you could see someone who's jizzed all over the seat in the back? It's just like,
yeah, but if let's be honest, Dave, after a night out and you're smashed, you're not thinking about what's
we've all done it. We've all done it.
I reckon it was Travis's cum. He's going to those porn films every day. He's probably running to the back of his taxi to crack one off quickly before he drives home.
Come on, let's move on to the next part, and that's the favourite scene. What have people got?
Oh, the film to me is just one giant scene, and it's like, I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite scene. I mean, even from look at the opening to this movie. It's probably one of the best openings to a movie all the time. When like that fucking taxi just bursts through the smoke with that Bernard Herrmann score going berserk over the top of it.
Yeah, I think you over-egged that opening, to be honest, Dad. But I do love the ending. Sorry, not the end, not the actual ending. I do love the 5 minutes where he's going in on that pimp house.
It's like a video game. You get shot about 20 times and he still hasn't gone down.
Yeah, but what I like about it is the grim reality of the shots and the wounds.
And they changed the color gradient on it, don't they? But I think they do that from a sensor point of view?
I don't know, but like people are getting shot in the hand and they're losing finger. The only thing that I don't like about that particular sequence is the guy that gets shot in the hand stays on the stairs. and says, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. And he basically waits for Travis to come back round.
Yeah.
He just waits there. And I'm like, what? How was that That's not realistic. If I got shot in the hand and this guy was mauling, killing people, I'd be running out.
Yeah.
He's clinging on to his business, bud. That guy loves that. It's his fucking bedrock.
Yeah, but why? Yeah, but he's not. Okay, that's fine. If he wants to stay there to defend it, that's fine. But why isn't he running to a room to get a gun?
Doesn't have a gun.
Well, that's stupid then, isn't it?
They don't want. Some people do it, man. They just. It's his lifeline. That guy's life is he sits in that stairwell, taking $10 from people for them to go into a room and just bang prostitutes of all ages.
Bang a 12-year-old.
That's what I said, of all ages.
Can we just go on to that for a moment? And I'll hold my hands up now, right? I've never had a prostitute.
And be very careful what you admit to by your know.
Yeah, I've never had a prostitute, and this is in the 70s. And wasn't there something like $35 for the prostitute? Then you had to pay 20.
No, it was $15 for 15 minutes.
Ah, that's what it was.
And then
$10 extra for the room.
That's it. Yeah.
Seemed quite expensive.
That's probably the same
70s,
cost.
anyway.
Same cost as now, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, just
well, that's what I'm saying. Hands up. I don't know.
Well, obviously, I don't think anyone in you has ever had a prostitute before. I don't know about you, Ed, but
I don't see the point, to be honest.
No.
But I don't know. But what kind of caliber of guy is getting prostitutes from that part of any city? You know what I mean? It's grim, innit? You know.
And I did think, when he said like it's $15 for 15 minutes, and he gave something else as well, didn't he? Another amount. I was wondering, like, is it on the meter? If you only last like 2 minutes, are you only paying $2?
Jodie Foster had a way of timing it. She lit and put it out.
Yeah, of course.
Out, that's the time gone.
Yeah.
I just have mental images there of like, those not pikeys, but like young kids just with a stopwatch by a bouncy castle, just going, right, there you go, and just looking at the stopwatch and go 15 minutes, right?
And what happens if you're like, 15 minutes in, you haven't finished? Do you have to pay? What is it? By the minute.
No, they come in and they drag you off.
I reckon, Andrew, you should go to pop over to Angels and with 15 quid in your pocket and find out.
Do some research. I'm surprised you didn't do any research for this podcast, Dan.
Which I don't know, Angels. I will admit. Where is that?
It's round by us.
All right.
Yeah,
I know there's one on the way on Whitchurch Road, I think it's called. Is it A1 A1 Leisure? Everyone seems to know these places are brothels.
I thought you were going to say
there's one just off Albany Road as well.
I thought you were going to say A1 lesbians then. I don't know why I didn't thought that's what you were going to say. I was like, what? But
they're the best type, A1.
Yeah, everyone knows that they're brothels.
A1 lesbians?
But it's how do they get shut down? But anyway.
I got a question for you. What do you reckon makes him turn onto like with Iris? Because what do you reckon makes him shift his focus to like, I want to try and help this girl?
Well, he keeps the 20. He keeps the 20, didn't he? He keeps the 20 all the time. But I think when he properly turns is when Betsy dumps him, because you can see it in the eyes that when she dumps him and has nothing to do with him, you could probably see that as that sort of humanity's hope or whatever just gone.
Well, he says about Betsy, she was just like all the others.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether, because he learnt that Iris was 12, I wonder whether in his head he was thinking, maybe I can save this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I do like that aspect of the film, because it's a slow build, isn't it? It isn't like this instant like switch of focus. There's a few moments where he has a run-in with Iris or sees her, or is like, you can see it in the way Robert De Niro is looking at her. That's like, there's something going on in his head about whether he wants to do something. And of course, he has that scene with her where he's like, what are you doing this for?
Well, you have to think, he's come from the Vietnam War, which was a horrible conflict where people saw horrible things, and then he's coming back to America, the land of the free, where he's seeing horrible things and people doing horrible stuff. Like he's in a car with Martin Scorsese's character saying he wants to kill his wife's bit on the side. And and then I think what happens is he comes across sports and Iris and stuff, and he's a bit like, look, this group of people who I could just kill perfectly encapsulates just like a really good example of how much of an ugly underbelly the city has, like pedophilic prostitution and like just smackheads and stuff. Like he finds out through meeting her that sport is giving her dope and stuff all the time, and he's just like, I think he just sees it as like, oh, this is like an enemy I could kill, and he goes along with it, And he gives he only ever gives that crumpled $20 note to that guy that works in the hotel as well. Yeah,
so no, the guy who gives him the 20 at the beginning, you technically don't see his face, do you?
It's Harvey Keitel.
It is Harvey. I was wondering, is it Harvey Keitel or is it the hotel guy? So I wasn't sure.
It's sport that does that, yeah.
No.
I still can't believe like Jodie Foster, because it's not long after. Was it not long after this she did Freaky Friday?
Yeah, it was around at the same time. I think it was the same year, actually. 77, 76.
I read that some of the more explicit scenes that she was in were filmed by her sister, who was 19 at the time. But I didn't really catch any sort of what those scenes were when I was thinking back to it.
It's the bit when Harvey Keitel kisses her.
Yeah.
I think they used a double for that, I think, because it's a bit, you don't really
As an actor, like, you wouldn't want to do that, would you?
Well, Harvey Keitel begged Scorsese to play sports, like because Scorsese wanted him to play a different character in the movie. He wanted him to play like, I think he wanted to just play a more prominent character. But he was like, no, I want to play this pimp character who was originally intended to be a black character, but Harvey Keitel asked, bended Scorsese's arm and asked to play him instead, and thank God they did, because he's really good in that role.
Do you know who I would have had to play that role? And it's not a million miles away from Harvey Keitel doing it. The look. No. The guy who was in The Warriors and also played Sully in Commando.
Warriors!
Come out to play!
Yeah, he would have been good in that role. Yeah.
I can't, David, something maybe? Yeah, so my favourite scene in all of this was the hotel scene where he buys the guns. From the guy, is he called Easy Andy?
Yeah.
First of all, what a name. I might adopt it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just a bit of humour I quite liked in that scene. And there's not much to shout home about. It was just, I think, a bit of a contrast to the rest of the film. And yeah, just the way that the guy then towards the end, he sold him, all the guns that he could, and then he's trying to sell him everything else under the sun, isn't he? He's just a proper salesman.
Yeah.
Is there nothing that he can't get, that guy?
Yeah, exactly. He's that sort of guy, isn't he?
Some grass? Do you want some meth? Do you want some mescaline? He's like, I just love when he's doing that little patter at the end. Which it's great, that, but it's the fucking arsenal Robert De Niro buys is intense, isn't it? It's
he buys it all, doesn't he?
Yeah, he just goes for it. He's like,
and he gets like a free hold all with it. It's like, no, just spend thousands of pounds on guns.
I love the setup for how much money he has when that guy, I think he's got the coolest voice ever. And he's like, my man is loaded. I love the delivery of, I don't know who that actor is, but the delivery of the line is absolutely incredible. I love it.
Is that the black taxi driver, one of his mates?
Yeah, my man is loaded. I that's the thing I love in this film, though. It's like, I love the scenes when he's at the taxi depot talking with Wizard and the other guys. I know they don't really have any large bearing on the story, obviously aside from like just kind of some world building there. But I just love those scenes when they're like, you just sat down with them while they're having a cup of coffee and just in between on break, on shift and all that. I think they're really well done little scenes. Good dialogue in them.
It reminds me, I don't know if other things have copied this, but you watch things like Family Guy, when the four, Peter, Quagmire, Joe, and wherever the other one is, they're in a booth and they're just shooting. It's that sort of scenario. But Travis, at times, he's not listening. His mind is miles away.
I love Peter Boggle in this film, though. I love the bit when he's on about like, I won't say the term on this podcast because it's but like when he's on about the two gay fellas being in his taxi, and then afterwards he's all like, apparently in California, if one gay guy breaks up with another gay guy, the other one has to pay the other one alimony, and he's just like, yeah, man, they're in a different world. I just love that. Like, it's it's obviously like this fake lie rumor that's out there, but I just love that bit, and I love, obviously I love the bit as well where Wizard is trying to give Travis Bickle advice by the taxi, and he's just all like, you don't make any sense, man. I just love that stuff. Yeah, great actor. Rest in peace.
Anyone got any more favorite scenes before we move on to changes?
No, I said mine earlier. It was Scorsese in the taxi outside the apartment.
Which you related to, which is quite
Yeah.
weird.
Exactly. That's why he's his
Now,
favorite.
now I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about some of the stuff he says, and I forgot that he mentioned about the good, the sort of the gun masturbation thing. I was like, no, I can't relate to that. No.
Yeah. Well, if, as long as you and the missus ain't going through any proper troubling times, just fine.
No, we're good. We're good. No, it's fine. I'm not buying any 357 Magnums or anything like that. No,
he is highly racist, though, Evan. So you got to watch out for him. All right, come on. Let's move on to some changes. I'm going to give I haven't got many changes with this, but there's one thing that really grated on me in the film. And as Prog said earlier, the film builds up, doesn't it? And you've got the sort of first half, which is your introduction to the character, and you can see that slow build up to the point where he wants to do some damage to someone. But in the first half of the film, the use of what I think is a saxophone within the soundtrack. Oh, I got on my tits after a while.
Well, it actually.
And I love a saxophone in a score. You know that.
Yeah, but it made me think. For a split second, on a couple of occasions, I was watching some erotic thriller.
No, I know what you mean.
I was watching an unlabeled Lethal Weapon side project.
And it's normally when he's traveling around in the taxi in New York, the sax would kick in and it was just, I don't. But to be honest, that's a change. But I am very mindful that it's of its time. It's what the soundtrack would have been used like in the 70s. So I can't sort of say it's a major change from my point of view.
And also, it's Bernard Herrmann. It's an old school composer from the 40s and 50s, so he's very sort of deliberate in the use of instruments and the type of scores that he does. And I think also, we've watched so many bloody parodies, or shall I say erotic thrillers, since the release of Taxi Driver, that when we hear a sax started up, we're expecting something.
The thing is,
Bob's dog, isn't it?
Yeah, the 80s took the sax to another level for me. So, they did it in the right way.
Yeah.
Only just before a massive pair of boobs were shown on camera.
I disagree because I think the score is amazing in this film, but obviously it was his last ever score.
Yeah,
his final score, and the film was released after his death. But does anyone know, without looking, know what his first ever film score was?
When was it?
No, well, I'm not going to give you the year because it'll give it away, but just guess. You all have heard of this film. His first
Vertigo.
We're saying Vertigo. Any guesses from you two?
So we're talking like 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
It's definitely a Hitchcock film. Is this Psycho?
Nope. Do I tell you?
Go on.
Citizen Kane.
Oh, okay.
I was his first.
What year would that have been?
That was 41, wasn't it, or something?
1941, yeah. Yep. What a film to have as your first film score.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane. Like universally I don't think it's the best one ever made, but people just always, whenever it's become a phrase, haven't it? He's not exactly making Citizen Kane. You know what I mean? That's your first ever movie. Crazy. And your last one's Taxi Driver. What a bookend.
Bernard Herrmann's filmography is it's ridiculous. I'd say it's not on a level with, but I'd say he's one of the few composers that you could sort of argue could challenge John Williams.
Yeah.
What a name though. Bernard. What was it again? Bernard
Herman.
Herman. What a name that is.
You think he was German? Let's look it up. No, he was from New York. I always thought for some reason I always thought that was a German name. Oh well. But yeah, I like the squad.
But I think it says here his family was Russian origin.
Oh, there we go then.
Also, his surname's Herman, and you said, "Oh, he sounds like a German." I actually knew in university a German called Herman. Herman the German.
Wow. I bet that was brought up every now and then. I'm going to say my only aspect of this film I don't like, which is like not the film's fault, but it's the censorship on the film, which I know we've talked about before, but listeners might not know this. But if anyone decides to go and watch this film after we talk about it, you'll notice that as soon as he gets out of the taxi to go towards sport, the color correction just changes. The color grade just completely changes for like a good solid 10 minutes. And it's because Columbia Pictures were so scared of the ending. They just put this horrible filter on the film. And like, and obviously you got Michael Chapman as the cinematographer, and he's a brilliant cinematographer as well. And it doesn't ruin the ending for me at all, but it's just really annoying how we've never been able to get like the film restored properly as it should be. I think they just permanently changed the color on it.
And it was you that said, I think in our group chat, that it's one of the reasons why it's not out on like Blu-ray or high definition or something, because the originals were lost in a fire.
No. It is on 4K. It has been released on 4K. It's not like they've been lost. I don't think they were lost in a fire. I just think that like, because Columbia Pictures did this really nasty thing of just permanently altering the ending, because and there was a lot of fights with Scorsese and Columbia Pictures at the time when he was going through a really nasty coke phase. Scorsese was as well, and he was in this really horrible fight with Columbia Pictures about it.
See, he had a coke phase. Say it ain't so.
Yeah, this was when he was in the real depths of his coke addiction, Martin Scorsese, this film, and he was really unhinged, and apparently he was going to, there's a famous story where he was going to the exec office of Columbia Pictures, shoot them, and then shoot himself. That's actually what he said in an interview, or I might have something to that effect, basically, there. So he turned into Travis Bickle. He became Taxi Driver. But that's the only aspect of this film I don't like, and it's not really a thing of the film's fault. It's Columbia Pictures' fault.
What have Evan Prog got? Any changes?
I've got two things. One is I've mentioned already, which is the guy on the stairs just standing there as someone's blown his fingers off. The second thing is, I'm not saying to necessarily get rid of it, but I don't know that I needed the epilogue after the incident at the hotel. Like, I wonder whether it would have been a better ending to have Travis Bickle put his head back on that settee and it just cut to black.
No, I think you need the epilogue. It kind of like, I've always enjoyed the epilogue aspect of the film, and I also really love with this film, I love this with a lot of Scorsese films sometimes as well, actually, and films like this, is that if you put this on for a cinema full of people, a lot of people get a different movie. You know what I mean? A lot of people read it in their own way, and I know what you said earlier that it quite annoys you that people see it as a death dream at the end, but I think that plays to the film's strength. I like that people can watch it and interpret art in their own way. And if people want to watch it and think to themselves, it's a death dream and all the film is a dream, if that gives them more enjoyment, so be it. Why not? In it? I don't think that is. I do think that he lives on in the end. My ending of the film is that when he's driving off in that taxi at the end, it's all gonna happen again. He's been vindicated as this hero now, and the next mass shooting is coming. I've always seen the ending as that, basically. But people
I don't take the ending as that. I take it that he's got it out of his system.
Yeah, see, but like that's the
because he tries to kill himself.
Yeah,
in the hotel. It's almost like, right, I've done what I set out to do. Now I don't need to be around anymore.
Yeah.
The issue I have with it, and this is why I then was asking the question, is it a dream at the end? I just don't believe it's believable, the amount of beating and gun bullets he takes and then survive. Because doesn't he get shot in the neck?
Yeah, but it doesn't go into his neck. It goes there, like past his neck. And then he gets shot, and he got shot in the arm, doesn't he? From close range. But I think the point is that the bullet just gets lodged into the bone.
All right. Yeah, I just came away thinking, I would have preferred if he had just died. Probably similar to Prague, just cut this.
I'm not saying that he should die at the end. What I'm saying is that, and I'm not saying I would prefer it. I just think that sometimes, or certainly watching it this time, I was like, I don't know if I need the epilogue. I think if he just put his head back on the settee and his eyes are still open and it cuts to black, then you can sort of leave it to the audience's imagination as to whether he survived, whether Iris has got out, or whether she's still in the game.
But another thing I think is cool about it, though, and a case to make for the dream aspect is, how is he getting away with that? You can't just kill 3 people, regardless if they're pedophiles or whatever, and get away with it. There's no way. He doesn't do it in self-defense. He walks up to the sport and shoots him in the stomach. You are going to prison for that. There's no... Yes, society might view you as a hero, but you are going to jail for doing that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. No matter what time, I don't care if it was 1976 or whatever. That's jail. But and that's a case people make for the death dream thing at the end as well.
Yeah, but you don't know what Iris has told the police.
Very true.
And that's the thing. Yeah, there's only one witness at the end of it, isn't it?
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say about the ending, I've only just remembered it. Apologies, but there's a little bit of inconsistency where they chase him away from the senator at the end, but none of those FBI guys or Secret Service guys recognize him as the taxi driver who's in all the papers.
Because he had a mohawk.
Yeah, but he's got a mohawk when he takes the pimp and that down.
But you can't. Yeah, but that's. But again, that you can't. That's what's the word I'm looking for? You can't prove it's him though, because you can't just go off memory and be like, oh, that looks like this guy that I chased off the other day. It's you can just see. I can't think of it. Contingent. What's the word? It's like that thing. They can't.
Contention.
No, it's like contingent evidence. I can't think of that word. It's just got. Andrew, put that. Dub in that whatever word I'm trying to remember. Just dub it in right now.
Dub in like the most racist term I can find, or homophobic term.
With it, let me just break on the podcast. Let me find out what this fucking word is.
Right, you find out what the word is. Ev, what changes have you got?
I've got a few. I just think the film's too long. It's just going. I'll go on, Ad. Have you got it?
Circumstantial evidence. Fuck me, that word just escaped my mind then. Evan, go on.
All right, thank you.
How long is the film? Is it about an hour and 50?
Yeah.
I just think you could have cut out half an hour of it, and it would have been a far better film. And it's like you, Prog, the ending. I think it would have been better if he would have just laid back. And that's it. So he would have fulfilled his purpose, I suppose, and then it would have gone.
That's interesting because it's normally me that says a film is too long. So
yeah, well, I just think there's what you were saying about the score earlier. There's a lot of similarities between this and the Batman that's recently came out.
All right, I was wondering where you were going to go with that. Right, I thought you were going to compare it to a film that we've done on the podcast that we've hated. So I was half expecting. Short Circuit or
Police Academy.
I love Police Academy.
Yeah, I don't care, but I will say Police Academy has the worst score of all time. That's my thing.
But no, like how that saxophone just keeps playing over and over and over again. It was the same in the Batman, where it was just that piece of like the theme of the film, regardless of what situation the film was going in. It was that music all the time. And the pace of when the camera's going out of the hotel and going around, the crime scene outside, God, it was just so slow.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't mind like a slow long shot, as you know, but
I know you love a slow long shot.
Well, and,
it must have been bad if Evan doesn't like this slow long shot.
Oh, God. But the main thing when Travis Bickle takes Betsy to the coffee shop at his first date, the food that he orders.
It's not a date. It's just.
All right. Well, you know.
Oh, sorry. Did you say Betsy or did you say Iris?
Betsy.
Betsy.
You said Iris. I was like, "Oh, what's not a date?"
No.
Sorry.
No, when he you know, when he takes Betsy to the coffee shop, the food he orders an apple pie with a slice of melted cheese on top.
That's a famous thing in America. They love that over there.
Did you see what he was eating in his room?
No.
He had bread. He had bread broken up with syrup, and then he added dehydrated milk to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
but he says in the film, doesn't he? He's like, I need to change my diet, and I need to.
Yeah.
That's the.
He needs to eat proper food. That's what he needs to.
No, but like,
this is what we need to do, right? On a separate video podcast, whatever. We just need to try the foods from the films that we want.
Food from the films. That's a new podcast.
We go. We've got
Food
the title
from
and
the
everything.
films.
Because everything we do, it always comes back to food.
But like, no, I will say this though, right? The apple pie with a slice of cheese is a very famous American sort of like thing. And I agree, it sounds weird. We should all try it out. Why not? If they love it, who knows?
But if we're doing the food thing, can I Bagsy? I'm not doing the old 96er because I will never finish it.
What's the 96er?
Great Outdoors. But you haven't seen the Great Outdoors, haven't you, Ad?
Yeah, I just can't remember that. Oh, that's the steak they order.
Yeah.
I'm happy to try that one for the team.
Yep. We got some screen sharing going on.
Here we go. Can you see that?
Here we are.
Oh, God.
Why cheddar cheese and apple pie go together so well?
I reckon.
Why does that cheddar cheese just look rank?
Because it's American cheese, that's why.
I do think that, like, food from the films, episode 1, we try some food from Taxi Driver and have a piece of apple pie with American cheese.
You know what?
I tell you what, Ad, I'll try and get you some cum-stained popcorn then, is it right?
Frog, you wank on the popcorn, I'll get the apple pie and cheese, and what else have we got to have?
I love the dehydrated bloody milk and whatever then. Bread and syrup. Brilliant. I'm happy with that. Anything other than cum popcorn.
Well, think about it like a cigar. Right? Americans, no, sorry. Have you ever had cheese? Have you ever had cheese with a bits of apple in it? Like that apple wood cheese you get?
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
That's nice. You have it at Christmas time. That's nice.
Yeah, but there's a difference between, like, you know, all the sugar and the pastry and the apple pie and all that lot. What would only make that worse would be like one of those slices of rubber cheese, like the dairy, the processed.
But if we do it right, the picture I just showed you was literally an apple pie with a slab of cheese on top. Gotta melt it properly. Whoever eats it, it's gotta be oozing into the applesauce.
I am fully up for trying this thing just to see, because I've heard about it for years and I've always been like, why would you have that? But I am fully up for trying it, and what I think of it determines what I think about America going forward.
It'd be different if you had say if it was applesauce and you had pork chop, applesauce, and a bit of cheese. I'd give that a shot, but apple pie.
I don't know. That sounds worse to me.
Yeah, that
I want to know what the next film is we're reviewing to see if what food's in that.
This is gonna. No, we have our normal favorite aspect, favorite scene, new bit of it. What was your favorite food from the film?
Yeah,
I reckon. Yeah, food. First episode of Food from the Films, which is now called Food from the Films. Apple pie with cheese. We'll get on it.
Sounds
I love how that offended you so much, that made it into your least favorite aspects of the film, though.
Everything comes back to food forever.
Well, it's just the way he was like the way he was sort of waxing lyrical about it, especially like, he's already going to make a mistake by taking it to a porn film. Yeah, he's just he's on hiding to nothing. He's fighting a losing battle with his bloody cheesy apple pie.
When you take your missus to a porn film, but you need some cheesy apple pie in your belly.
Oh God.
Watch us all try it and love it now. I reckon it'll work really well. when we all give it a go.
It could well, right, be amazing, and then we start up our own line of food products, make ourselves millions by selling cheesy apple pie.
Of all the
Cheesy
of all
apple
the
pie. That's what you got to call it as well.
yeah,
No, but the good thing will be we can just say, you know, here's Ryan Gosling to try it, and then he could, you know, he could try
not
it from
these
there.
days.
Or he could dress up this
Taxi driver.
Yeah, taxi driver. There you go.
With a side of popcorn.
oh.
Oh, it could be like a meal deal, couldn't it? Cheesy apple pie, popcorn, and I don't know what drink, Diet Coke.
Well, we just get salt and fish sauce and put it on some popcorn. That'll be what it tastes like. That's gross.
Salty popcorn.
How do you know what semen tastes like, Ad?
Apparently, what it tastes like. You told me.
Oh. Right, come on. Let's start thinking about wrapping this up.
Sorry, Andrew. Before we wrap this up, there's one thing I got to talk about, and it kind of goes outside of our usual topics and stuff. But me and Prog started talking about it earlier, and I think it's an interesting thing because I think a lot of people think about this when they think about Taxi Driver. Has everyone in this room seen the film Joker?
No.
Yes, I know Prog's seen it. Do you think that? Like, before we go into this, I want to preface. I love Joker. I think Joker's a great movie. I think it's outstanding, right? But what do you guys think about people when they say, "Oh, Joker's just a rip-off of Taxi Driver" and all that sort of thing?
I've never heard that until you've just said it.
It's a common thing people do say. It's like, oh, it's like this generation's Taxi Driver because he's like the loner, but lives in a really decaying, horrible, morally bankrupt city and all that sort of stuff. Prog's got a point.
And I think the style of the film as well. We were talking earlier when we were saying that it's a character. Joker's a character study, like Taxi Driver is.
Yeah,
and it's all and the films are both culminating, leading towards this explosive ending.
Yeah, and he's kind of on the fringe of society, and he does eat. And this is a deleted scene where he eats apple pie and cheese. But I love Joker, right? And obviously I love Taxi. I do prefer. I like both. I love both films, but I see them as different movies. I got to be honest. I see them as completely different movies. I never watch Joker and think, oh, it's just a Taxi Driver. You know what I mean? It's one of those weird things.
One thing I've got to say. Sybil Shepherd in this film reminds me a lot of Bridget Fonda in It Could Happen to You.
Oh,
she's
what a great film!
Very
well
attractive
done,
lady in this, I think.
It Could Happen to You doesn't get enough mentions on this podcast.
I love that film. Brilliant film.
Nicolas Cage.
I've never seen it.
Nicolas Cage in a rom-com. It's everything I needed.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it either. Right, couple of final facts then. From me, you may have some as well. De Niro, in his typical style of going into character and really playing a scene or playing a character, he got a real New York City taxi license, and he worked for 15 hours a day for about a month to get a sense of the job. And
he still has our job to this day.
Imagine getting into a taxi and he's there. Because at this point, he would have done Godfather 2, I think.
Yeah, and Mean Streets, which are two big films. And
and supposedly, right, he went from Godfather 2 and was offered like £500,000 roles, which would have been a lot of money then. He was only paid $35,000 for this film.
Yeah.
Given the name he was, that's mad.
Can I just say now, right? Robert De Niro, I know everyone goes on about him, but if he's not in the top 5 actors of all time, then I don't know what list I'm looking at.
Best actors of all time. Let's have a look.
Is he better than Jeff Goldblum?
Fucking number one. Comes up as number 1 on Google. Hey, bam. Let's go on the IMDb top 100 greatest actors. I'm going to go to the top 5, like we do on these things sometimes, and I'm going to read off the top 5. Okay.
Wait a minute, I'm gonna put over at this point like a like a.
Can we guess the top 5, Bad?
Well, do you want me to do? I'll do top 5.
Tell us, are they all recent actors, or there's some? Is like Marlon Brando and that in there?
Well, number 5. So I just read them out.
Yeah. Sorry.
Number 5 is Daniel Day-Lewis.
He's only number 5.
Number 5, yeah.
Okay.
Number 4, Pacino.
I'm sorry, I'm putting Daniel Day-Lewis above Pacino, but carry on.
Got a great ass.
Number 3 is Mr. Bickle himself, Robert De Niro.
Oh, I thought you said he was
hang on a
one.
minute now.
All right.
Top 2. I'm going Brando is definitely in the top 2.
Okay. Any other takers? Any other guesses, guys?
And I'm going to say it's going to be someone like Tom Hanks or no,
Denzel.
no, it's not going to be Denzel. It's going to be
No,
one.
no.
It's going to be someone from the 40s or 50s. Who's the guy in 12 Angry Men?
Is it like someone like Jimmy Stewart,
Oh, it could be him, yeah, or
Gregory Peck?
Cary Grant.
Gregory Peck?
Number
Yeah.
2. Number 2 is Marlon Brando.
Okay.
Any takers for number 1?
I reckon number 1 might be Denzel, and Adam's going to hate this list.
It's not Denzel.
Right.
Denzel's number 10.
Oh,
Jeff
it
Goldblum
depends
just for the
what
flag.
it depends what the criteria.
I think based on our podcast opinion, I think the general consensus would probably be Kurt Russell, but I don't think he's going to be there, is he?
Well, I'll be disappointed if it's not the actor who plays a young Frank Dukes in Bloodsport.
It is him. It is
I don't know who he is.
Owen
Go on,
Wilson.
then, who is it?
Owen Wilson.
No, it's not Owen Wilson. Come on, who is it really?
I saw his picture on the side. I was like, Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
And I gotta give it the guy. Now I gotta be honest. That top 5's interchangeable, right? But I would have put De Niro above Jack Nicholson. But I do love Jack Nicholson. I think he's an amazing actor.
My top 3, going by those names, would be in any order would be De Niro, Brando, Daniel Day-Lewis. Those are the top 3 I would say. But
Mine would be Nicholson, Pacino, and De Niro, because I just love Al Pacino, and like Scarface is one of my favorite movies, so I gotta have him in there.
but are you picking him off the films and not the actual actor?
I think his performance in Godfather and Scarface just earns him that. Pops him up there for me.
Daniel Day-Lewis is the only actor to ever win three Best Actors Oscars.
And out of interest, just fly through 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
He's not. Nicholson won 3 as well.
No, he won a Best Supporting Actor.
He's got 3 actor. Go on, sorry, Andrew, what are you going to say?
Yeah, just fly through 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
You need to know, don't you? You need to
Yeah.
know. The runners up were Denzel, Paul Newman.
Yeah, he's 10. You're going down here. Right. Okay.
I'm going Denzel 10, Paul Newman 9, 8 was our boy Anthony Hopkins.
Yay.
Number 10 was Tom Hanks. 7 was Tom Hanks, and number 6 was Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, here we go. Everyone knows now. Those are the top 10 actors of all time.
When was that list put out?
It's going off the amount of Oscars they've won and stuff. It is.
Okay.
Oh, so that list is before Daniel Day-Lewis won his 3rd then.
No, because it says 3 for him on there. I think Jack Nicholson just has more Oscar nominations and stuff overall.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, so he does, because Daniel Day-Lewis only has 5 nominations and Nicholson has 12.
Okay.
And he's got more Golden Globes and BAFTAs and yada, yada, yada on top as well. Good on Nicholson.
Right, final fact from me, and I always give a budget. It had a budget of 1.9 million, and it returned 29 million.
Hey, that's good for 1976, especially a UA film as well, which it was.
Well, yeah, and, gritty, dark, violent film. So,
Yeah. And also, come on, it's a cultural landmark. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised, right? We've got to this far in the podcast and no one has mentioned the mirror scene. You talking to me?
Yeah, do you know why you know?
It gets quoted all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah, but when I was watching it this time, I didn't think it was that big a deal.
No, I was the same. Because, again, I'd never seen this film before. So you're sort of building it up, waiting for it. I've seen clips of that. And I just thought there was more powerful things elsewhere in the film.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I think it's notorious because it's ad-libbed, isn't it?
And also, I think it's a timing factor. When this film was released, that scene probably had more weight with the viewing public at that time. Whereas I think today, I don't think that scene is so downplayed. Like, there's no razzmatazz to that scene, is there?
No.
Yeah.
What's the recommendations from everyone on this?
Oh, it's a good point. I was just about to wrap up the podcast. Well done, Ed.
Yeah, we have to do the would you recommend?
I wouldn't highly recommend it, but I would definitely recommend it, especially people who are into their films. I think they need to see it. I've seen it now. I probably won't watch it again for a while.
Yeah, I'm obviously going to say yes to this.
I would recommend it, yeah.
No.
Ooh!
Really?
Oh, the big man's coming right at the
Fucking
end.
hell, what's going on
You
by
need to go
you?
back to rehab, I think, mate.
I was only joking about the...
Actually, do you know what? For everything Adam said about E.T., I wouldn't recommend Taxi Driver. You had.
No, but Evan's only saying this because we dunked on him. I dunked on him for the Martin Scorsese bits.
No. Honestly, I would. I think it's too long. It's the pace of it at times is too slow, and I think it would have been. I didn't say this earlier, and I should have done, but it would have been much better if they would have had to build the character and the world up. They would have had more scenes with him driving people around the city. I think it would have been a lot better if you would have had different characters in the back of his cab.
Like Fake Taxi.
You wanted Fake Taxi, didn't you?
What's Fake Taxi?
Yeah.
I've
Don't
never,
act
I've never
like you
heard
don't
of it.
know.
Taxi.
Don't act like you don't know. I think Evan was a bit disappointed because he thought we said Fake Taxi and was like, wait a minute, this isn't a...
No, I thought you said
Evan
crazy.
You got your popcorn ready. You thought you were watching Fake Taxi.
Yeah, I got my cheesy apple pie and everything. No, I thought you meant Crazy Taxi. No, but I really wanted to like it. I really did, but it's a no from me, unfortunately.
Well, three yeses and a no. Oh well.
Well, on that
Switch it up.
bombshell. Wow. Anyway, we're back. So check out the podcast. They're going to come out every week. Whether they come out on a Wednesday anymore, I'm not entirely sure. Who knows? Just watch this space. But the podcast is back. Yeah, we're back with a bang. Cheers all.
Bye.
It feels so good.